happiness reigned supreme at San Francisco's City Hall in the last 2 weeks of June 2008, as nearly 1,000 same-sex couples joyfully tied the knot in civil ceremonies.
By the power vested in me, I declare you spouses for life.
The North Light Court was turned into a huge extension of the office of the County Clerk, and hundreds of city and county employees were trained as volunteers to help make this all possible.
The process has been amazing. The people have been so gracious and so supportive of what we're doing. The energy here is fantastic with so many couples getting married. It's just been an absolutely fantastic experience. So wonderful.
We've been planning this for a year, and we thought we were just doing a ceremony for the two of us. And to actually be able to get married and be a part of this time in history and time in our history is amazing.
It's really nice to have our relationship recognized as important as our parents and not something separate or less than a straight couple.
We've been waiting for this. We've been together for 17 years and became registered domestic partners in 2002 and when it was available for the state. And we've been waiting for this for a long time and have been fighting for this and wanting this. And so this is a momentous occasion for us to be able to actually have this opportunity to have it stick and to have equal rights.
We've been together for 14 years. It's been really great, and we're really pleased that we came during these 2 weeks to get married because everyone has been so welcoming. It's been all set up, and people have guided us from step to step. It's been easy. There was live music. People are so friendly and
congratulatory.
Excited.
Yeah.
So excited for us. It's really great.
Yeah. But I also would like to say thank you to the mayor and the city attorneys for bringing the suit forward.
Absolutely.
Because that's where it started.
This smooth-running operation did not come about by accident. The seemingly simple and efficient process required a tremendous amount of planning and a thorough review of lessons learned from 2004.
And today, San Francisco took the step to make the case that we believe in the words in the California Constitution, and we took action to implement that. And I'm proud to be mayor. I'm proud to represent the greatest city in this country and around the world.
From February 12 to March 11, 2004, under the direction of Mayor Newsom, the Office of the Clerk issued marriage licenses to over 4,000 same-sex couples. During the month that licenses were issued, couples traveled from all over the United States and other countries to be married. The Office of the Clerk, responsible for issuing marriage licenses, was overwhelmed with the hundreds of same-sex couples waiting at City Hall each day for their chance to be married.
We basically started to issue the marriage licenses couple after couple, and pretty soon that line that started on February 12th started going down the hallway, out the door, around the block, and it continued over the weekend. People just jumped in their cars as soon as they heard, and they drove from Washington or they drove from Oregon, and we saw families here with young children and, you know, friends of theirs, and they just stood in line for hours on end, hoping that they were going to get through the door before we, you know, closed down for the day. And the next day it would be the same thing. They'd come back. We had very little time to plan for what was going to happen in 2004.
In 2004, when the city had opened up marriages, offering marriage licenses to gay and lesbian couples, we were here and waited in line and managed to get an appointment finally and got in and get married. And we were so appreciative of the city doing that and making this opportunity available for us. But it was very chaotic at the time, and a lot of waiting and a lot of chaos.
The last time there were lines outside, long lines, then long lines inside, about 5-hour long lines.
In 2004, we had no idea what to expect, and we had originally just wanted to marry Phyllis Lyon and Del Martin. We were trying to get under the 9 o'clock a.m. Court opening, meaning we were trying to do it in a way that we could at least get the first marriage under the bell before the courts came in to try to stop us. What we didn't know is what we didn't know, and maybe that's the source of most change in the world, is going about things and not knowing the consequences of what you're doing, and so then you're open to exploration and discovery. And consequences, we had to quickly organize a way to get through the enormity of requests to get married.
Later that year, the California Supreme Court ruled that the marriages were void, citing the mayor's lack of authority to bypass state law.
The rule of law in this case worked. We challenged the law. We went up the ranks, so to speak, of the courts, and eventually the Supreme Court said stop. We stopped. And there was a great sense of despair in some respects, but again, hopefulness that we would live, so to speak, to fight another day. And in spite of those licenses being voided, in spite of the fact that there was disappointment in that in particular, that not only we had to stop, but that everything we had done had been taken away as well. I think people lived with the expectation that they may in their lifetime see what they have now seen, but I don't know that many of us thought it would happen so quickly.
After years of working its way through the California court system, in December 2006, the California Supreme Court voted unanimously to review the 6 cases which challenged the ban on same-sex marriages. Oral arguments were held on March 4, 2008.
We are literally across the street from the courthouse, and if the court rules, couples could literally run across the street and demand that we issue a marriage license to them, and we wanted to be prepared. We got the call early, kind of mid-morning, May 14th, where they said, oh, can you come and make a meeting? That was when we found out that the courts had already notified the city attorney's office that it was going to render a decision the following day at 10 a.m.
Then, on May 15th, the Supreme Court struck down California's ban on same-sex marriage in a 4-3 ruling. A huge rally was held at the City Hall Rotunda to honor the legal teams that had fought all the way to California's Supreme Court and won.
What a day in San Francisco! What a day in California! What a day for America! What a day for equality!
The most extraordinary part of this is the unanimity of support we had from the elected family. I mean, what cities would you have? The entire Board of Supervisors, the district attorney, the public defender, the sheriff, and then you had a city attorney that was ready to fight and had conviction and purposefulness and wasn't going to shy away from this.
The Supreme Court's decision would become final on June 16th at 5 p.m. Mayor Newsom announced he would marry gay rights activists Phyllis Lyon and Del Martin, the lesbian couple he married in 2004, at precisely 5:01 on June 16th. City Hall would begin performing same-sex marriages on June 17th.
We expected that we would have a significant interest in getting married at City Hall.
We quickly realized that we were not staffed up to issue the number of licenses that people are anticipating that we would need to issue. We definitely did not want people waiting in long lines. This is somebody's wedding. You want to be able to plan and invite your family and friends. Know what time you're going to be able to get your marriage license, know what time you're going to have your ceremony.
We got to create something, an appointment system, where we can basically manage how many people are coming in, stop it at one point, and let the people know ahead of time that on a given particular day, that's all we can accommodate.
People appreciate the fact that they can make travel plans if they need to and know that when they get here on a Monday, their flight lands at 10 and they have a 12 o'clock appointment, that we're going to get to them at 12.
On June 16th, huge crowds gathered outside City Hall in anticipation of the historic moment. News crews from around the world were sent to cover San Francisco's first legal same-sex marriage.
I think today marriage as an institution has been strengthened. I think today Marriage has been affirmed, and today we can confidently say is the first day in the state of California that we are providing marriage equally and fairly to everyone, denying no one their right and their opportunity to live their lives out loud as Phyllis and God. What a great day.
Meanwhile, the Office of the Clerk had been busy planning to move its licenses and ceremony services into City Hall's North Light Court for a 2-week period beginning June 17th to handle the hundreds of couples who had made appointments on the city's website.
We couldn't shut down, our office here because there's many other services that we provide to the public than just marriage licenses. So it wasn't like we could shut down, take the equipment from here and move it to a satellite office where we had more space. This isn't anything that we had budgeted for, so it was basically, we asked our IT director to do the best you can, beg, borrow, steal if you have to, and get us what we need to do this. And he knew what the mission was, he knew what our goal was, and with our IT group and Kenton and our software vendor, they really came together and pulled it together for us in the North Light Court.
Besides all the technology necessary, handling several hundred weddings a day would require hundreds of volunteers to assist all the same-sex couples wishing to get their licenses and marry at City Hall.
While on the outside it looks pretty simple, behind the scenes, there was just this monumental mountain of work, the details into everything that we had to do, that was just overwhelming. And because we have such a great department, GSA, they kind of stepped up and kind of said, what do you need? What resources do you need? What can we do? What part of this can we take over and you can concentrate on the things that you need to concentrate on? And one key person was Olga Ryerson in the city administrator's office. She was coordinating all of the volunteers.
We had about 350 volunteers who actually worked this effort, but I received, I'll tell you, hundreds of emails and many, many telephone calls from people, city employees, ex-city employees, and members of the public who wanted to work.
We had to come up with a training program. There's different functions of this whole operation. You were either, a check-in person, you were a greeter, you were part of the license issuing unit, you were a deputy marriage commissioner, or you were on the recording side. And each one of those functions required a different set of skills, a different oath of office if they needed to be sworn in as a deputy county clerk to issue marriage licenses, or as a deputy county recorder if they were going to register the marriage licenses, or as a deputy marriage commissioner if they were going to be performing ceremonies.
Donna, place the ring on Beatrice's left ring finger and repeat after me.
That was just a huge load off of our plates when she took that over, and every day I thank her, and I said, I can't thank you enough, I think I owe you lunch.
I worked a lot of late nights, probably the latest was probably like maybe 2:30 in the morning. I still had to send my schedule out. I remember my husband coming in, he started coming in like 11 saying, okay, you've got to go to bed now, you have to go to bed. And it's like, no, I have to send this out, but pretty much the first week it was beyond midnight, 1 o'clock, and once I think it was after 2:30 in the morning, that I was just still there on my laptop with my 2 Excel spreadsheets and trying to get this out so that people would have their schedule for the next morning.
They said that we would get our schedules Sunday night, and so 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 10 o'clock, I got it at 11 o'clock. This person who was orchestrating all the shifts and the volunteers and who does what, sent it from her office at Sunday night at 11 o'clock. There's a whole long spreadsheet of all the dozens of volunteers and the 5 shifts that have to be staffed and the 3 different shifts. So she had this whole thing of, in the next 2 weeks, from 3 shifts, from 5 positions, and all these names, and just having to coordinate based on the demand, and it was really impressive. I was really impressed. It was the first time I really appreciate what administrators do.
No other words of mine or any other person truly marry each of you to the other.
You get an AM training session of 4 hours. That would be the complete training session, and then there'll be another scheduled group of people in the PM for a 4-hour training as well.
The marriage commissioner training was only about half an hour. It was very simple, it was very well run, very smooth, and then we were all sworn in.
On June 17th, the Office of the Clerk, aided by the new volunteers, set up shop in the expansive North Light Court of City Hall.
Coming into the building, we have volunteers to greet them and basically instruct them where to go.
I'm a greeter here at City Hall, and we provide information for couples and families that are coming here to get their marriage license and to get married. A lot of people are here for the first time. Quite a few people are here from out of state, out of country. In some cases, it's their first time to San Francisco, and this is a big deal, being able to get married. We've talked to couples that have been together 38, 28, 40 years, and so this is their first opportunity to get married, and so they're excited, but they're also very nervous.
Once we figured a way to, so to speak, secure the area for just appointments of license and ceremony, and we looked at the North Light Court, the way it's structured on how the people would come in, and then what the workflow or managing the processing flow of that area. There's a check-in area in front of the central entrance where they would verify their appointment times and schedule, say you do have an appointment and so forth, then you may proceed.
Thanks for volunteering. You're a volunteer, right? Yes. That's awesome.
Well, my wife, who works for the city, told me that they were looking for volunteers that were either city employees or former city employees, and that fits me, and so I was interested in helping out. And I think it is those people who have been together for a long time that are the most moving stories. I mean, the young people, I'm sure that they appreciate this, but I think the older you are, the more you're going to appreciate this change.
I think what's also moving too is the fact that everybody that works in the city is so enthusiastic about the whole process. Everybody in City Hall is thrilled and very excited and really behind the whole change going into effect.
I just got an email because I work for the San Francisco Public Library, so I got an email saying they needed volunteers that work in the city. So it's something I want to do. I have friends that have been in Marriage Equality USA, and I feel like I wanted to help out.
I'm a summer intern for the Department on the Status of Women. I'm working on gender equality in the private sector with businesses in San Francisco. So the theme is equality for the summer, including marriages.
It's pretty exciting. I think because we're the first stop and people are really nervous and they're like, we have to ask them for ID and they're fumbling, and it's really sweet.
We have some greeters inside of North Light Court would just check them again and make sure they are who they are. They do have an appointment and allow them to proceed into the marriage license processing area.
So once you're ready, you and your husband-to-be or wife-to-be need to check in here and then check in with me again, okay? And are you also going to get married today? Or okay, so let's process you one by one. We're going to get you to do your license here, exit, and re-enter here, checking again at that desk, okay?
Our wedding's at 3, so...
It can be at any time. Okay. City Hall's going to take care of you today, okay? As long as we get you in today, right?
We're getting married at 2:30.
Don't worry about the timeline.
But we have the...
We're greeting people right here at the doorway and either directing them to the services that they need on this side, which is licensing, or the services they need on this side, which is actually getting the ceremony performed. We're also making sure nobody else jumps the line.
The marriage license processing area was defined with the counter space where we're going to process the marriage license.
Okay, are we good? All right, thank you so much.
This is an opportunity to choose to be a part of history. Many times history happens to us, but in this case, you can choose to be a part of it. This is a very historic day, and so I'm very, very proud to be here.
Hopefully people will see that gay and lesbian people have loving relationships, families, children. It puts a face on that, I think, for a lot of people. I think there's a lot of misconception out in the world about who gay and lesbian people are. I think it's important that people see that we love our husbands and wives to be, and we love our children and have the right to have families just like everyone else.
They are so happy, and they just outpour their happiness to us, and they're thanking us, and they just can't thank us enough for being here and helping them through this special day for them.
And then from there, they would be redirected back to exit the facility, or if they had a ceremony the same day, paid appointment and so forth, there's a commissioner station near the exit where they can just go in a continuous license and ceremony process.
Since volunteering last Monday, I've performed 12 different marriage ceremonies. The very first one that I experienced was extremely emotional. They were crying. I was trying to hold back tears. It was a couple that had been together for 9 years, and they had a wedding planned in Australia, but then it became legal in San Francisco, and that's where they met, so they decided to come here and get married here first. So it was just a really lovely moment and very emotional. Today I married a couple that had been together for 29 years, and they talked about how they never expected to see it in their lifetime, and it was just a very, very emotional ceremony today. The least amount of time that any of the couples that I've married have been together is 2 years. So most of the couples have been together 8, 9, 10. I'd say about 70% have been together at least that long, if not longer.
For love is truly the greatest gift we are given to share. Love's compassion is the glory of life. I work at Juvenile Probation Department part-time. I'm actually a retired city employee. The mayor had asked for liaisons for all the departments. I jumped on that opportunity. I wanted to be a part of this wonderful part of history. Some parts of history I wouldn't want to be a part of, and this part was really wonderful and joyous occasion and a long time in coming. It's absolutely the right thing to do, and to bring two loving people together and helping acknowledge and certify that relationship, I find really wonderful and a joy, and it's one of the most pleasurable things I've ever done in the city in my life. And I'm going to be continuing this afterwards as a volunteer marriage commissioner.
And when I was conducting the ceremony, some of their friends were finally saying, but now it's for real, you know, now it's legal. They were sort of saying that in the back. In other words, they had gotten married before, and this time it's legal, you know, it's sanctioned. So there was a lot of, you know, weeping. It was hard for me to get through the end because I was starting to, you know, I was starting to get emotional too, but it was lovely.
It's really one of the most extraordinary gifts you can be given in life, and that's to participate in a ceremony where you can celebrate the ultimate gift in life, and that is finding love. It's the one thing, and I say this because it's important to remind people, it doesn't matter how wealthy you are, what position you have in life, you can't buy it, and you can't force it upon anything. Love just happens, and when it happens, it is something to celebrate. And the idea that you can participate in that celebration, that affirmation of two people's lives, and to conduct a ceremony, that's about as good as it gets. And so for those volunteers, what a gift for them as well as us, that they would take of their time and contribute that time, but also that they would in turn receive so much more back because they're part of the narrative of someone else's love and expression of love in life.
Wow, you guys are organized. Yeah.
Each person over at the assessor recorder's office dots an I, crosses a T, puts a number on, stamps this, turns it over, stamps that. And the best volunteer job of all is that guy at the end who does that final stamp, because that means you're married.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations.
Thank you, San Francisco.
All right. I'm actually glad I was assigned here because I think this was a real fun way of spending the day and being involved in this process. It's the end. It's where we hand out the actual official marriage certificate. So it's been really nice, and this is a copy of the certificate here. There was one couple here today that have been together for 30 years, and it wasn't legal until today for them. You have to see the look in the eyes of the folks that are getting married. They're almost starting to wonder if it's really real, and they're still jazzed, and they're buzzed, and they're wired.
With hindsight from 2004, a little more time to prepare, and over 350 volunteers, the Office of the County Clerk provided City Hall newlyweds with a very different marriage experience.
The support that we have experienced from our own families, our own friends, and then the excitement of the volunteers when we get here has made us feel wonderful and accepted and celebrated. So the fact that I see so many people who've given their own time to volunteer here has meant a tremendous amount.
Yeah, knowing that people who have volunteered to help with this entire process are doing it in almost extra time in addition to the time they already spend working here. You know, we're usually both very good at putting our feelings into words, but we just can't thank them enough. It's just been amazing.
It kind of went out according to plan. I mean, this is what we've planned for. And in some respects, people have kind of commented, oh my God, you know, you're part of history, and how many couples did we marry? How many families did we start? How many dreams did we make come true? And that, you know, the whole part of being a part of history, I just feel like this was kind of like something that we're here and we're charged with this responsibility to carry out.
There was a lot of city agencies and city departments, divisions that are, offer up their employees to help us out for this duration with the North Light Court process. And you know, we greatly appreciate it, and it's an overwhelming response. It's unbelievable how city government works. So this is the time that San Francisco city employees have really, you know, outshined.
This is the best thing happening. You know, it should have happened years and years and years ago, and that's why I'm so proud to be a part of it. That's why, you know, the late nights didn't bother me. I'd get a little exhausted, sure, but that was just physically. But in terms of what I'm doing, I feel so good about what I'm doing. I just feel so good about San Francisco. The impact that we're making in this state, you know, it's just what we changed the state, you know, and that was such a cool thing.
You had clerks in the state of California that not only didn't step up, they walked away. They said, we're not only going to not do same-sex weddings, but we're not even going to do any weddings. Contrast that to San Francisco's clerk's office that didn't need to hear from the mayor to say, okay, what's your plan, what's your thing, but then offered a plan and said, here's what our strategy is, here's what I think we can do. We can open up the North Light Court, we can add all these computers here and there, we can connect our databases, we can expand our capacity by X, we can open up early, we can stay open late, we can stay open on the weekends. It was unbelievable. And we can coordinate all of the training for our volunteers and then swear them in as deputy marriage commissioners. And we can get all through the processing and make sure everything's verified and signed and certified. Now, that's an example and a model for others. And this is, what happens is when people prove that things can be done, it just raises the bar for what's possible for everybody else.
I think a lot of people were here from 2004 and they knew what that experience was like, and they wanted to take part in, you know, in 2008 and have that same experience, but legally this time. So I think people really, you know, really again, you know, stepped up and really, you know, put out their best that anybody could do in a very short amount of time. I mean, literally, I think we pulled this together in 2 weeks. I mean, we put in some very long hours and some very long weekends to make this all happen.